Maple Grove police say a man is in police custody accused of killing his mother and severely injuring his father. The incident happened Wednesday night in a home on Eagle Lake Drive. Meredith Hackler joins us from the scene with the latest on the investigation. Meredith?
Shannon, Maple Grove police say the man responsible for killing Elizabeth Witt and severely injuring her husband George Witt is their 42-year-old son Matthew Witt. This is what we know about the investigation so far. Last night, shortly before 8 p.m., Maple Grove police responded to the report of an unconscious woman. When they arrived, authorities performed CPR on Elizabeth Witt before she died. George Witt was taken to a local hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police say that the suspect, Matthew Witt, lived with his parents at their home on Eagle Lake Drive. Police have not released information on what caused the death of Elizabeth Witt, but they did say at this time a firearm is not suspected of being used. Now, as we went to air, there was no further information on the condition of George Witt, but police did say that this is a tragedy and not something that happens in this tight-knit community. For now, live in Maple Grove, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
All right, thank you, Meredith. The plans to redevelop the vacant Four Seasons Mall site have now changed. This week, the city approved the submission of bond applications to the state for Dominium Development to build affordable apartments, retail, and restaurants at the site off Highway 169 and Rockford Road. The public spoke out about the previous plan being too dense. The developer made a few changes. The most noticeable one is the number of affordable apartments was lowered by 57 units. The height of the two buildings would also be reduced to 3 stories instead of 4. However, Dominium increased a proposed senior building by 45 units and raised the height to 6 stories. The company still has not submitted a formal application to the city for approval, so plans could change again. There will not be a referendum on the November ballot in Plymouth to approve renovating the Plymouth Creek Center. The City Council made that decision this week. Many council members said they've heard substantial public support for the renovation, and a referendum would only add cost to the estimated $50 million project. Flash vote survey results show people would like an indoor walking track, gymnasium, and indoor playground. Final plans for the renovation and a cost are expected to be ready for council review by September. The City of Brooklyn Park offers plenty of green space for outdoor activities. In this week's Daphne Approved, reporter Meredith Hackler shows us the dog parks in the city that are great for those who love the outdoors.
If you aren't aware yet, there are lots of dog parks in the Northwest Metro, but the Brookdale Dog Park in Brooklyn Park happens to be Daphne's and my favorite.
This dog park has a little bit of everything. There's hills, there's open space for dogs, there's shade, there's a little bit of kind of brush and natural land to be a part of. Great place for dogs and owners to get out and exercise and experience an off-leash dog experience.
And that little bit of everything is why Daphne and I come here almost every day. The city bike trail connects to the dog park, there's a restroom for dog owners, and the city provides bags for you to pick up after your pooch. Brookdale Dog Park does have a water feature for your dog. However, it's not in the park, so I would recommend bringing a jug to fill up so that you can give your dog water while they're running around. The park is completely fenced in, so once you let your pup off the leash, they can run until they can't anymore without any worry of them breaking free.
We ask that there's a $3 fee for people that don't have licensed pets. They can easily buy a annual license through the City of Brooklyn Park for $10. And get free access to any of our dog parks for the year.
Brookdale is the largest dog park of the 2 in the city. However, the other dog park in the environmental nature area has plans to expand as a part of the 2021 redevelopment of the Mississippi Gateway Park.
The City of Brooklyn Park and Three Rivers Park District are working together to jointly do the Mississippi Gateway Regional Park with the environmental nature area. So the environmental nature area will be kind of redeveloped at the same time, and the dog park will be expanded at that time as well.
On top of that, Brooklyn Park hopes to continue being as dog-friendly as possible by potentially adding another dog park as they develop green space over the years. With lots to do for both dogs and their humans at both park locations, you can bet both are Daphne approved.
The City of Brooklyn Park will now be a sister city to Garowe, Somalia. Garowe has just under 190,000 people, and it's located between 2 valleys. A local group of Somali residents wanted a partnership for a cultural exchange, so the city used the opportunity to examine the process for establishing a sister city relationship. The mayor said he spoke with the mayor of Garaway about the relationship and felt like it's a natural way the two communities can connect.
What happens in their home country where they have many relatives is still extremely important to them. And so I think having that connection helps us as a city be a better city because we get to understand things.
Brooklyn Park is already a sister city to Kakata, Liberia. The mayor pointed out that when city officials visited Kakata, they paid for their own trip, so the sister city relationship wasn't a burden to taxpayers. All week long, there are celebrations to mark Liberia's Independence Day. Brooklyn Park has one of the largest Liberian populations in the state. The Organization of Liberians in Minnesota are holding several events this week: an art show, banquet, dinner, soccer and kickball tournaments, and a prayer service. Some Liberians say the holiday is a reminder of the historical tie between the West African country and America.
I want Americans in this country to realize that Liberians are here. We are part of this country. We have contributed in different ways, and we want them to get to know more about Liberia, its history, its connection to America.
Both the Minnesota governor and the city of Brooklyn Park proclaimed this Liberian Independence Week. The American Colonization Society settled Liberia back in 1822. The settlers declared their independence on July 26, 1847. We have more on this story on our website, ccxmedia.org.
The sub-state playoffs for American Legion Baseball are underway, all leading up to the 94th annual state tournament in Cold Spring next week. Osseo taking on Maple Grove in a sub-state 11 first-round game. Maple Grove pitcher Frank Volkers is sharp right from the start, getting a strikeout and a quick 1-2-3 top of the first inning. Osseo starter Jake Contreras matching Volkers early. He ends the Maple Grove second inning with a strikeout. No score in this game into the fifth inning. Bottom five, and Maple Grove's Ethan Elias chops a ground ball to the left side. Osseo unable to make a play on the ball, and that brings Joe Schmidt in from third base with the first run of the game. Same inning, and Jeremy Click up, and he singles into left field. Around comes Elias to score, and Maple Grove has a 2-0 lead. And that is enough for Volkers, who throws a complete game shutout as Maple Grove wins 2-0. They'll play again Friday at noon. Osseo drops into the loser's bracket in the double elimination tournament and plays again late Thursday afternoon. For the first time in decades, there's a new home for the Crystal Frolics men's softball tournament this weekend. The fields at Becker Park are gone as the main field moves to Welcome Park. We caught up with tournament director Jim White to ask him about the 2019 Frolics setup.
Super field here, right here at the northeast corner of Welcome, and it's going to be an exciting place to play, and I think the ball players are going to be very anxious to play up here. It's 315 down the line, 325 to center, 8-foot high chain link fences. It's going to be a challenge.
Do you use other fields other than the super field and Welcome 1 for the tournament?
We would have used Welcome number 2, but because of everything being done down here, we're not going to use that. Concessionaires are going to use that. We are going to be using Lions Valley Place, Bassett Creek, and 2 fields, Central North and Central South and Brooklyn Center, to kind of complete the tournament. We kind of were down from teams from last year. We had a deadline, and past the deadline we could have had more teams enter, but we were scheduled with the teams that we did have and with the fields that we had. I think it works out well. Becker, again, I had a tear in my eye when we closed it, but now I'm excited about seeing the super field and all the work that Brad and everyone else has done to this field.
And for more information or to see brackets for the tournament, go to crystalfrolics.org. Sometimes it takes a subtle touch to catch fish. Terry Tuma explains in this week's fishing tip on hooking walleyes.
use the finesse approach to catch those finicky walleyes. Very successful. What we're really doing under these kind of conditions is using your electric trolling motor, minimum rod movement, and you're really coaxing that walleye into biting. If you hold that live bait right in front of that walleye, sooner or later, with your patience, you're going to catch that fish. But the key ingredient is varying your snell length. Generally speaking, a tough bite walleye, you want to go to an 8-foot snell with clear or green line, clear water, green line in tinted colored water. And then the snell, again, you have to vary the length. Longer snells are going to present that bait more naturally. Shorter snells, you're fishing rock areas right up the edge of the weeds. And the key, another key ingredient here is using your hooks that are going to be, generally speaking, on number 8 or 10 with crawlers and also with leeches. The concept here is jumbo leeches. No, you want to use the size of the leech to be, you can even go to a smaller leech, but generally speaking, a medium leech works very well. Minimal rod tip movement again, and then I do use a sinker that's going to match the conditions and the depth of the water. You do have a choice of colored sinkers, but under these kind of conditions, I usually go with a plain sinker. Again, the weight that matches the water depth, and then too, using a bead that's going to become an attractor. It offers a little bit of attraction, a little bit of color, and a little bit of bulk. Does it always work? No, but it's something to experiment with. Give finesse fishing for walleyes a try. You'll be very surprised and successful.
And that's all for sports. More news after this.